I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Phoenix next season in terms of their roster just quickly. First of all, let's start with Ayton, because we know it was highly publicised that he didn't get his max extension that he wanted at the start of the season. And now we're getting to a point where you look at his performance today and you think, do I want to be giving this guy a max extension? Now, the other thing is, a bit of a subplot, is the fact there's the rumblings would suggest to me that DeAndre Ayton is gone and out of Phoenix. Apparently the rumours are that he was asked by Monty Williams if he wanted to go back in the game in the fourth quarter, and DeAndre Ayton replied with nope. And then people should go and watch this if they haven't already, but in Monty Williams' press conference after the game, he was asked why Ayton only played 17 minutes, and his response was internal reasons. And that's all he gave. And he was pretty stern on it as well. So those two things would suggest to me that DeAndre Ayton's time at the Phoenix Suns might be up. Would you still give him the max and try and keep him, or would you let him walk, or would you just try and get him on a lower number?
It's more because I'm Phoenix, and that's why I'd be giving him the max. You very rarely do free agents come there as a fan. You're a small market team, and it's the number one pick. I don't think you let any number one, some exceptions, but a number one pick like him. And I just think you figure out how to use him properly, because he's 23 years old. The body that he has, the defensive steps that he's taken, I think the potential that he has is extraordinary. Those 28 and 17 games, I really read into them. And I think he is going to leave, because a little part of you has to play. Luka and Trae Young are your draft class. Even someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. was in his draft class. Michael Porter, these guys are getting huge contracts. They're getting their own teams, and they're making huge strides. It has to play a part in it. He's rarely at least from what I see, he's rarely mentioned in the success of the Phoenix Suns. He's a defensive anchor there for them, but Devin Booker and Chris Paul always get the shine. And I think just call it ego, call it just looking around the league at other people, I think he's very confident he can be a top 5 big. And me as a fan, I actually want to see him as a centerpiece of an offense. I want to see where he's actually feeding him in the post. They're not just using him as a role man, because he has the toolkit to be a great big man, honestly. And I think the Phoenix Suns, we know they're notorious for being quite cheap in terms of wanting to pay people. And he really hasn't built a case for them to demand that sort of $175 to $200 million max money that any big man that has that is a future Hall of Famer anyway. In today's league, Jokic, Embiid, they're all future Hall of Fame talents, I should say. So if you would ask me what's going to happen with him and the Suns, he's going to absolutely move. I had a question for you, though, regarding the Mavericks, because when this trade happened, the Spencer Dinwiddie Bertans trade, you and I couldn't stop laughing about it. But the team the run that they went on was almost day and night there. Number 6 defense, I think they had for that stretch. Do you think this is an actual team that Luka has? This is actually a team that he could move forward and actually sustainable, actually make some success in it? Or do you think this is just things have just worked really well and he's still a few pieces away?
Up until now, I think that he's still a couple of pieces away, or himself is a couple of years away in terms of, I think Luka's still developing, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, which we saw the weaknesses and issues there in the first couple of games. It didn't hurt him in this series, but it may hurt him in the next couple. So it's a tough one. Can you ask me in a month? And I'll do it. Maybe even in a week, 2 weeks' time. Not to sit on the fence at all, but it's a tough one. Well, are you thinking that Ayton is a player that Dallas should be going after potentially?
I can't think of a better matchup. I think with that top-tier playmaking that Luka is, and you've got secondary ball handlers in Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie, we know their defense could really go with a big man. He's a big man that you can keep on the field for 48 minutes. They're actually keeping crunch time there. And I think I don't know how you would work him into getting into without giving up some key pieces there, but Luka and DeAndre Ayton as this combination, and just what you're just saying, the size, your 2 best players, you've got a 7-footer, and Luka is 6'8" and 250, 60. Mate, to me, that just that on paper is tantalising as an NBA fan.
Yeah, I think if I was a team going after DeAndre Ayton, my issue with giving him a max contract is I still don't know how good he is without Chris Paul, without an elite point guard. So, yeah, if you're an opposition team, I think you need to have an elite, top-end, top 3-5 playmaker in the league, because if he's going to a team and he's the number one man and he doesn't have those players around him to necessarily feed the ball like CP3 does, then I'm still not 100% sure what I'm necessarily getting out of him and what those stats that he might put up actually may mean for my team moving forward. So that would be my worry. So yes, a fit like the Mavericks I think works well with Luka. Another, in terms of teams with cap room, Detroit maybe as a big with Cade. I'd love that combination going forward. LaMelo at Charlotte, they desperately need a center. So there's definitely options out there for Ayton, that's for sure. In my opinion, I think that I think the Suns are just going to let him test free agency, and then he's a restricted free agent, obviously. So I think that he'll probably get a 4-year max from someone, and I think Phoenix will match that. And then if he does want to leave, then it's up to whoever he wants to go to figure out a trade of some kind. That's what I think will happen come free agency.